Here we're doing a bridge project up in Hawk Point, Missouri. So this is what it looked like the day we arrived, and this is what it looked like the day that we were finished. I do know this is the third or fourth time that storms have washed out this culvert in this subdivision, so they just wanted to get it fixed the right way this time. The culvert was so big that we had to cut it up into pieces. After we got it cut up, we used the excavator to fold it up, squish it down, and get it in dumpsters and hauled out of there. Once that part was done, we started to reshape the road. With the bridges being so long, we needed to have a better approach angle coming from the road onto the bridge. So that's what we're doing here. Once we finished that up, we dug the footers for the bridge. You can see that at the top of your screen. And then the bridges arrived. Now, I keep saying bridges as if that's what they really are, but those are actually old train cars. And they're 9 foot wide, 70 foot long, and have a weight capacity of 150,000 pounds. Here's the process of how we got them off the truck. Kind of scooted them off with the excavators and then lifted them up. He drove right out. And here's what it looks like in the footer hole. That's 1 inch rebar in there. These are 6 foot deep by 5 foot wide. So they are built very stout. Not going anywhere anytime soon. Now we needed to fix alongside the creek. The biggest problem with this is that every time it stormed, the water was rushing through there so quick it was washing out everything around it. So a solution to that is to pour a footer on each side of the creek. We put these bin blocks on top of that footer and then anchored them in. There's a giant spider we found in the hole while we were working. It's pretty scary. Anyway, those bin blocks are 4,000 pounds each, 6-inch concrete anchors holding them into the footer that we poured. And this is what it looks like the day before we put the bridges in place. Now, this is the best way that we found to move these things. 2 excavators pick up on one side while the dozer assists from the other side, just kind of pushing along. It didn't take long to get them in place. I mean, maybe an hour to get each one of them set. And then it was time to mount them. We mounted them by drilling 1.5 inch by 2 foot holes into the footers. And then we drove a 1 inch pin down through there and filled that all with epoxy and welded the pins to the bridge. So there's 6 pins holding it in total. And yeah, check back for part 2. Okay, this is part 2. If you didn't see the first video, we are fixing this old culvert that keeps washing out, and we're replacing it with a train car bridge. Now this is the part that probably took the longest. We wanted the center of the bridge to be flush with each other, and these rail cars weren't designed that way. So we painstakingly took turns cutting the center of these out, and we eventually got it. Once they were out, we took a flat steel piece and welded it to the center after we pushed the bridges together, of course, and got those all mounted. Then underneath the bridge, we welded 6-inch heavy wall steel pipe to the bridge, and then we mounted that to the bin block below just to give it some extra support. It probably didn't need it, but it's got it. And we did 4 of those legs. Once the legs were done, it was time to backfill and start cleaning up. We drove our loaded dump truck across there, and it didn't collapse, so that's good. This is what it looks like done. This is exactly what the homeowners were looking for. You can see the road has a lot better approach angle coming down to it now. The creek is not going to wash out, and it just turned out really good. There's that steel plate that we welded down the center of the bridge. All in all, this project took us about 3 weeks. We dealt with some bad weather and a few breakdowns, but right around 3 weeks to get this completed. This was our first time doing a bridge like this, and I think it turned out awesome. There's a few things we would do differently on the next one, but for the most part, I think we nailed it. I know this is a pretty common issue in St. Charles County and the surrounding areas as far as stormwater goes, so if your subdivision is having an issue like this, don't hesitate to reach out to us. I appreciate all the support, guys. And lastly, here it is with grass. I went by there a couple days ago.